We all know that the Islamic militants have funded their terror with oil money. Now the U.S. has started manned airstrikes against ISIS in Syria from a base in Turkey. With the fight against ISIS heating up, two Republican presidential candidates, Dr. Ben Carson and Donald Trump, sounded off on Fox Business and Fox News on the best ways they feel are to defeat the terrorist group. Listen.
I'll tell you what, you get rid of them, and then you don't have to keep fighting.
You're going to surround the perimeter. You're going to take the oil. What else do you got to do to stop ISIS?
That will be the beginning of the end, because that cuts off the money. That cuts off the head. When you take the oil and when you stop the banking sources, you got to do that too. The problem is we have people in the administration that aren't smart enough to understand what's going on. You have to stop the banking flow. But when you do that and when you take the oil, that's the beginning of the end of ISIS. They don't have the money.
Take the oil, stop these people. Okay, are those real plans? Are either of those ideas feasible? And what other options does the U.S. have? Here to put those theories to the test is Fox News military analyst and retired four-star General Jack Keane. General, let's be clear. Both of those answers, I guess, would be distilled down to send in U.S. troops. Do you agree?
Well, they certainly imply that, and both of those answers are oversimplifications of a fairly complicated problem. If you took ISIS's oil, that would not stop them. It's not their only source of revenue. Kidnapping in every bank in every community they've gone in there and taken money. So they have outside sources that are contributing to their movement. Financiers from various countries who agree with radical Islam. So in of itself, it would be a setback, but it would not stop them. And Carson gets a little closer to it. What he's implying, yes, is that you have to take their territory away from them in Iraq and Syria to defeat them, and that'll stop their recruiting, their training, their logistics supply, their combat operations. That brings them to a halt.
But, General, do you roll your eyes sometimes as you're watching the TV when they say things like, you got to take the oil away from them? Of course we do. That's how they're financing exactly what you see on the screen. They're killing Christians. They're killing people who don't think like they are. They are killing journalists. It is terrifying. They are terrorists, and they're funding that with the oil. But, again, you use the term oversimplification. What is the plan?
Well, there is no plan, Liz. That's the real problem. The main effort for ISIS is in Syria. That's their headquarters. That's where they recruit and train. That's where they've been able to conduct an invasion into Iraq from. And that's where they've expanded into 7 affiliates and now have a worldwide following. And there are no plans, I mean, Liz, no plans whatsoever to defeat ISIS in Syria.
Okay, now I have to ask you, people on this network watch things like the defense budget very closely, and hence they look at defense stocks. Everything from Northrop Grumman, you could look at Lockheed, you could look at Raytheon. Do you anticipate that the next president will step up the effort and hence a bigger budget that will start to float some of these stocks a bit higher?
Yeah. In full disclosure, I'm a director at General Dynamics, so we're talking about the defense industry. Yes, I absolutely believe so. The military capabilities are in free fall here, and what that really means to us is that we're not going to be the deterrent force that we should be to prevent wars. That's job one for the U.S. military. Number two, we're not going to have the kind of response we need when we need to do it. Anybody that's looking at this closely and unemotionally can see what's happening. The next president is going to have to change this free fall.
Well, we shall see. I agree, but it is very frightening at the moment. General Jack Keane, Fox News military analyst and retired four-star general, saying so far the candidates oversimplifying what is a very complicated problem. Thank you, General.
Good talking to you, Liz.
Good to talk to you, too.